agent that works with us, and I've known Erin for, oh boy, I don't know, probably at least 5 or 6 years now, and always been pretty consistent with production. She's always been really, really good at generating referrals, and that's really why I wanted to have her on this morning, and really been trying to get her on for a while. I'm glad it finally worked out. I know, Erin, you can maybe introduce yourself too, tell everybody a little bit about yourself and what you're doing, and then we could kind of get into just some different ways of generating referrals, things that have worked for you that have helped you to really generate a lot more additional business outside of just working leads. So, how you doing this morning, Erin?
I'm good. Thank you. Yeah, my name is Erin. A little about my background. I've been licensed in Michigan since 2008. And I worked for two companies as captive, and then in 2012 went independent, just because I realized there's so much that one company may not be able to offer all of the people I sit with. And then since 2012, I built my business mainly on referrals.
I know you've told me something in the past where like you kind of plant seeds, right? Where
Yep.
before you, before you even before you even get into a presentation, you kind of like paint the picture, right? Of like what the process is going to look like. And then you even mention, and then I'll be asking you for some other names. So you like kind of put that out there on the front end, correct?
I do. I let them know ahead of time it's coming so they can be thinking about it while we're working on everything else. I bring that up right at the beginning.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Do you offer anything for referrals? Like do you offer gift cards or anything or
I do. I don't give them out at the appointment. What I do is I will give kind of referral bonuses based on the referrals and how they work out. Everybody will get, like a gift card, a coffee shop card, something like that from me for the referrals itself. However, if there's business that has come from the referrals themselves, they get a larger referral bonus. So they always get something from me. Yeah.
okay. Yeah, I was mentioning I've been pushing a lot harder lately with referrals. I actually keep a gift card on me, and it seems to work pretty well.
Hmm.
I'll take the gift card out, and like I said, I think when they can see you see that gift card, they want to see that go from my hand to their hand.
Oh
So
yeah.
sometimes they're maybe a little bit more motivated. I know everybody does things a little bit differently, but yeah, lately that's been working for me. Um, now is how many I mean, on average, how many referrals do you think you work every week?
Um, on average, I get probably maybe 40 to 60 referrals a week. Um, and then my appointments ran on them are probably 10 a week that I set, 10 a week.
Okay. Wow. Well, that's pretty good. I mean, out of the 10, how many would you say you usually write uh, out of the people that you're sitting with?
I will probably write something in the home, probably about 5 to 6 of the appointments.
Okay. So about 50 to 60% of the people that you sit down with.
Yeah.
Would you now do you treat the referrals like leads where is there just like a lot of carryover from one week to the next and just doing whatever you can to still try to get in front of those referrals or I mean do you just kind of move on after one week?
Um, no, I still have referrals from months ago that I'm still working and calling. Um, I try to do them immediately, try to get them quick, but some of them you just can't. So I keep them on my list and I keep working them.
Boy, I just think about like direct mail leads are $40 a lead on average. And a referral, in my opinion, is going to be a better lead than a direct mail lead. I mean, I feel like right there, I mean, a referral to me would easily be worth $50. So right there, I mean, you're working like $2,000 worth of free leads every week just by taking that extra effort.
Yeah.
Things that other people are not doing. I mean, heck, and I mean, if you write 5 or 6 applications without having to spend extra money on leads, I mean, just talk about, I mean, what a big difference your income is going to look like, because leads gets to be expensive. I mean, heck, right now, I mean, I spend at least probably $800 every week on direct mail leads. So, I mean, right there, I mean, heck, I might write 5 or 6 apps, but in the end, if I'm getting those referrals, I just couldn't imagine how much more I would be profiting from even just the initial investment of the leads and getting referrals. I've always said referrals kind of make up for the leads that you don't get anywhere with. Referrals make up for the doors that get slammed in your face. And yeah, I think that it's, you're smart to be doing that. I mean, heck, I mean, it's not like it really takes you a whole lot more effort by asking for referrals, does it?
No, it doesn't. And usually you've built up enough good rapport with, the client that you've been sitting with, that when you're asking for those referrals, they're giving you some of the best names, because you've basically went over their entire retirement and financial info. They've entrusted you with that info. So the names that they're giving you are going to be basically just like themselves. And I've noticed more too that my referrals are, I've gotten a lot of referrals from direct mail. Some of the direct mail that I have not been able to close, I've gotten great referrals from them, and I've made some good sales from them. So I do still like those direct mail. But the referrals I've noticed too are for myself are ones that my business stays solid on. If something's wrong, one quick phone call to them saying, hey, I see the NSF came through, and they're like, oh my gosh, I switched banks, I'm so sorry, I'm taking care of it now. So I like them. I like my referrals, and yeah, I've gotten some good ones from direct mail also.
Adam, I wouldn't mind jumping in real quick if you wouldn't mind. I would just love for those watching and those listening. I had intended to say this in the open, and the tech didn't work the way it was supposed to. Do you think we could just give the viewing audience like a step 1, 2, 3, 4 of how to ask, how to get, and then how to call? And then we could tell them, like, in the middle of this conversation, here's exactly the directions that you as an individual agent need to follow to do what she's doing. So maybe we can just real quick walk through step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on how to get and then call and then to the referral process.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. So step 1.
Step 1 is when you're finished with your warm up, let them know, Chris, I get paid in 2 ways. First is through commission. So if there is a need that we uncover and I have a solution, I'm going to ask that we do business. Second is through referrals. Referrals is a lifeline in my business. It keeps me local, which I like, but it also holds me accountable to you as a professional. So at the end of our meeting today, I'm going to ask you for some names of some people who you feel will benefit from this information. And then I go directly into the fact finder. No time for them to say no or anything.
Gotcha. Makes sense. So you've laid the groundwork in step 1 during the warm-up phase where you're establishing rapport. And if you don't warm up with somebody, you're never going to capture anything but the easy sales anyway. So I like that. Step 2, what do I do next?
Step 2 is after the meeting, after we've taken care of what we needed to. Did you find that the information that we shared today was beneficial? And they're always going to say yes. Great. Well, as I mentioned earlier, I'd like to get this information out to some folks that but they have to meet 2 requirements. They have to be as open-minded and high caliber like yourself. So with that being said, you mentioned you had 3 children. And at that point, I grab my pen, I put my head down, and I say, who's the oldest? Who's next? Who's next? I never look up at them because, and it's true when they say, if you can get that water faucet turned on and keep it dripping. So then after the children, and I'll know from the warm up that they have kids, grandkids, if there's cousins in the area, family, church, whatever. So I direct them where I want the kids' names. And then,
Okay.
your brother. I want his name. I want sister's name. Direct them. And then when you're done kind of with family and whatever, you say, well, who lives to the right of you? And you never look at them ever, because you're going to lose contact. As soon as you look at them, they're going to lose what they're thinking of. So, you know, who lives to the right of you? And then who's next? And then who's next? And never ask for last names at that point, unless they're giving it to you. If you can get the first names from everybody and keep everything going until they are just out of people they cannot give to you anymore, then go back and say, okay, well, what is Chris's last name? Now, is Chris married? And then you get last names. Then when you're done with all the last names, then go back and get either phone numbers or addresses. Because as long as you have a first and last name and a vicinity of the area they're living in, Google's your friend. You know, you can find anything and go knock on their door. But if you can get the names and phone numbers, you know, that's amazing. Sometimes I have directed them to go get their, you know, some of my older people still have address books, you know, so I'll let them know, well, go get your address book, you know, let's get the information from there. Asking, I've noticed, doesn't go very far. You got to direct. You have to direct them what to do. Not being rude about it, but.
Oh yeah, you got to give them directions so they know what they're supposed to do. They're not. This is their first presentation. What are they going to know what's supposed to do next? Is there a step 3, or have we basically covered the warm up and the groundwork and then the gathering of the referral? I guess step 3 would be, you mentioned earlier in today's conversation, you like to call them on a Saturday. You like to call them when you've got time in the field. That's attempting to contact the referral. I guess that would be step 3, right?
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
So then when I call them, you know, I say, you know, Mr. Smith, you know, this is Erin Scott calling. How are you doing today? I'll be like, good, great. Well, the reason I'm calling is I recently met with your brother, Ed. We went over some valuable information on some changes that are happening in our economy that can definitely affect your retirement. And he found this information valuable, wanted me to make sure I got this information to you. So I have just a couple questions for you to make sure I have the right info specifically for you. And then I will ask, you know, are you working or are you retired? Is your wife still working or is she retired? You guys currently on Medicare? Are you paying on a life insurance? And then the other qualifying question I have in there is, now, would you say, kind of with all of your savings, checking, CDs, money markets, IRAs, you don't have to give me an exact dollar amount, but would you say you have more than 25,000 or less than 25,000? And then they'll say it and they'll say, okay, great. I appreciate that. Now I'll be in your area Monday or Thursday. Which day's best?
Makes sense. No, I like that. Adam, I didn't mean to steal too much of your thunder, but I wanted to make sure that those listening in today could literally write down what the heck to do and then go out and do it. Because it's one thing, as you commonly say, and I love it, don't be a professional student. Just don't come on the training to watch the training. Do something with the training. And if Erin's willing to take time out of her sales day and her life and her family and get on camera, which is very uncomfortable for a lot of people, and to share this information, she just gave you the directions. Now go out and do it. Don't just be a professional student.
Yeah. So when you get the referral, now you mentioned like that kind of sounded like what you would say. Is that like when you first sit down with the referral, you're going through that? Or like, is that when you're on the phone with them, like trying to set up an appointment? Like what?
That's when I'm on the phone with them trying to set the appointment.
Okay.
Because at least I know at that point, you know, I can go in for Medicare or I can go in for final expense for review.
Okay.
It lets me know exactly what it is I'm walking into.
Do you do anything to like create any sort of urgency to kind of motivate them to want to sit down with you?
I make sure I let them know in the beginning that whoever gave me the referral was very adamant that I get this information to them. And sometimes that sparks, you know, in their mind, oh, well, if Sally thought this was, you know, I needed this, then I need this, you know, so I better listen to it. And then giving them the appointment of that week, you know, my days that week on Monday or Thursday. I normally won't go out a few weeks unless they say, well, I'm out of town this week, but I'm back next week. Then I'll go ahead into the following week. But I usually try to just set them for the week that I'm working.
Okay. Yeah, that's good. I mean, I know you're a heck of a lot better at referrals than I am. One thing that I usually always just some like different terminology. Like I'll always say that I promised so and so that I would call you. You know, I
Mhm.
promised her that I would come see you. You know, I promised her. She said she knew that you needed to talk to somebody about this. I promised her I'd come see you. Just like I don't know, little words like that. I think sometimes like even like I've always felt like, especially if it's like one of their kids or something, like your mom is gonna be real mad at me if if you don't let me come by
Yeah,
to see you.
I have said that
Um,
before.
just like
Yeah.
little things like that. Like I promised her I'd come see you, so you better let me come see you. Your mom's gonna be mad at you.
Hmm. Yeah. And I'll
Stop.
always say, like, I'm not going to be the one to let your mom know you said no. So you're going to have to let her know that yourself.
Yeah,
I said,
exactly.
Erin, have you ever seen those emergency response sheets? It's a method that the Alliance teaches. I've seen others mention it before. I think it kind of makes sense and it's similar to what you've mentioned. But have you ever seen that version of gathering referrals through the emergency response system?
no. Mm-mm.
No, it's a sheet they fill out at the sale of people that you would contact if they die to gather the referral. It's just a different technique I've seen out there, but I really like the way you've structured it for us today. Um, is there anything else you think somebody watching should know or should learn and should get the confidence to just go out and do it today?
I think it's just you have to do it. Um, and you only get better at it when you make it repetitive on every single appointment you're on. Because as soon as you get into habit of doing it 3 or 4 times, and then for some reason you stop, you're setting yourself back. You're not keeping that momentum up of going and getting them. And I've made that mistake before. And it took me a few months to get back in the groove of it. Like
Mhm.
I found myself, saying, wow, I just totally screwed that up. Like what even came out of my mouth trying to ask for that. So you have
Yeah.
to just do it and you're going to get told no. And if you get told no, leave the business cards, let them know to hand them out. Um, but that's the only way you're going to continue to get better with asking for referrals is you have to do it each time.
I think that's like all of the extra things past whatever your core lead-in product is. Adam, always say, you got to always ask for the Medicare. Just ask at the end. Just ask at the end. Just ask. Even if you just get nothing, at least you have the habit of asking.
Yep.
So there's a lot of things you got to ask for, but that's how you get better than just average in the business. You got to ask to get in the door, ask for the social, ask for the bank account, ask for the policy, ask for the referral, ask for the Medicare. It's a lot of things to remember to ask, but that's how you make really good money and write good quality business is kind of the more I'm learning, right?
Oh yeah. Now, Aaron, I know. I mean, you do a lot of final expense business, but I mean, like you said, I mean, also Medicare. I mean, I guess with the referral, you just kind of base it off of like what the client's need is. But I mean, because I know you offer more than just the final expense, correct?
Mhm. I do a lot of I do a lot of annuity business. Um, and I've noticed more with the annuity business that the final expense honestly comes into play with that because especially with qualified monies, there's tax liability to the beneficiaries, and so the beneficiaries can use that final expense um, to help with those taxes. A lot of my annuity clients will use their RMDs to
Hmm.
pay for their annual premium for a final expense policy. Because they don't necessarily need that money annually, so they'll use it to fund a policy. So there's a lot of ways in there on pivoting to the different products. I really found there's something in every house you go into.
Well, it sounds like too. I mean, you're not just primarily focusing on your middle to low income final expense client. I mean, like
No.
you're using the a final expense product more as like a tool, like you mentioned, to cover the taxes. Someone has a big annuity, you let them know, hey, look, your family's going to end up having to pay, such and such amount more than likely when that money is withdrawn from the account. So this policy here can be used to cover that. That's I like that.
Talk a little bit about your local market. I find it fascinating when we're sending out the leads, ordering the leads, distributing the leads. your area in Michigan, because there's a part of your territory that's a freaking island. Like it's not even, there's an island. It's an island in her territory. Leads come in on an island. It's pretty cool. Doesn't happen in many other places in America. But for those watching, talk to us about your local market, what you like about it, because I hear that passion to serve your local area. And that kind of motivates agents even harder when they take in territory, even if it's their home market and they own it. So tell us about your area.
I love our area. We have a lot of farmers up here. We have a lot of retirees. I mean, Northern Michigan is where a lot of retirees will come for their second homes. It's a travel destination, for a lot of people. But we also have some larger companies. We have East Jordan Iron Works, which makes those manhole covers that, you see on the sidewalks and the roads. That company is about 6 miles from my house. So I get a lot of retirees from there. GM is a few hours south from me. The market we have a good market in Michigan. We have from the baby boomers up to the retirees and everything in between. So the market is amazing. And yeah, we have 2 islands. We have Mackinac Island and Beaver Island. And Beaver Island is you get on a boat and take that boat over, and there's not many people there, but there are some who need things. So
when you get off the boat, how do you get to the people? Is there like taxis like on Block Island or?
Yeah, there's well, for Mackinac Island, you get on a bike and you ride to where you need to go, or you have a horse that takes you. But for Beaver Island, you do have it's a smaller island, and everything's like right there kind of when you get off the island, so you really don't have to worry about much there.
Yeah.
But it's different.
What's the population on like Mackinac Island?
Mackinac Island, I think yearly there's maybe, I don't know, maybe like 7,000 people, maybe that stay there annually. It's not huge in the summertime. That's totally different. But I've written business on Mackinac Island as well, and so I'll make a day out of it. I'll go over there, spend the day at the island, go, venture around.
Yeah, I kind of feel like going up there and renting a bike and getting some leads to door knock and just and just door knock one lead after another, ride my bike around the island. That might be fun.
The friendliest people up there. They are the friendliest people. I mean, you'll be.
I'm seeing you in like that Wedding Crasher thing where you're riding the bike and that song in the background. Do 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 do. Well, there's the rural markets, and I guess an island constitutes rural, requires a little bit of extra effort, but I'm convinced if you write it, it sticks because ain't no one else coming back to write it or replace it.
Right.
That's it.
No.
Yeah, I think I have an Americo policy in the mountains of West Virginia that's always going to be on the books because I was the only one there besides an AIL agent that's ever going to come to that person's home.
How far up are you in Michigan, Erin?
I am an hour south of the Mackinac Bridge. So I'm about an hour north of Traverse City and an hour south of the bridge.
Are you a Lions fan or a Packer fan?
I am a Packers fan. I have been since I was born. So I'm not going to diss the Lions. Great. I'm not going to, but I am a cheesehead.
Yeah. My next door neighbor, he grew up in Northern Michigan and he's a Packer fan. So that's why I was kind of curious because I guess it's really not that far from Wisconsin.
Nope.
Do most of your clients say, don't you know, or are you not far enough north yet for that?
I get a lot of A at the end. Like, are you going to come today? A, and I catch that and, I'll kind of just chuckle. But it's funny. They do say that though. There's quite a bit of them.
Yeah. I worked with a guy, Adam, as a paramedic from Minnesota. And it was just the partner before that was purebred Russian from literally the guy could have been Drago from Rocky. And I would joke with him all the time. Simon, you do the code, do it. If he dies, he dies in the ambulance. But then you had another guy from Minnesota, but not quite anything to do with getting referrals today. But I really appreciate it because I know it's not easy to get on camera. I know a lot of people in this industry, Erin, if they have something that they're really, really good at, they don't want to tell anybody about it, and they kind of keep it to themselves. They silo the information and they don't want to share it. But I think, like I believe, you believe that teaching makes you better. Helping
Mhm.
other people just comes back to you in return. And it's just the right thing to do in this space, right?
Mhm. Correct.
Cool.
Well, it sounds like consistency, just like everything else. You're asking in every home for referrals. The only price for a referral is to ask for it. If you don't ask, you're not going to get it. So, like I said, boy, look at that. I mean, heck, 40 more leads every week just by asking. That's the only price you're paying. Is just asking for referrals. Like you said, heck, even if you're only closing 5 or 6 of them, still, I mean, heck, 5 or 6. I mean, we're talking. I mean, I see the premiums that you write. We're not talking
Incredible.
about. We're not talking about like $40 a month premiums. I mean, your average premium, I bet, is well over $100.
It's stupid. You wrote a case, I'm in a nice way. You wrote a case with American Home Life yesterday for what's that, $250 a month?
Yeah.
It's incredible. Your average Baltimore Life is probably $175 a month. I bet the people there know your name when it comes across their computers just because of the quality and the size of the business.
Well, that's one thing too, Erin. I really appreciate your business and the quality of the business. I mean, you've been writing for quite some time now, and yeah, there's business that falls off, but it's nothing outrageous. I mean, I've seen agents that write big premiums on people that have no business taking out a policy with that large of a premium, and it lasts a month if the initial premium even comes out. So
Yeah.
and just leads to lots of issues. But whatever you're doing, is working because like you can write business, and I don't have to feel concerned about, oh man, she just wrote this huge policy. Like, because other agents, sometimes if I see a big one coming through, I'm like, ugh, I don't know about
Oh,
this.
yikes.
Yeah,
Oh no.
but yeah, I think the carriers they've got to like the fact too that you're writing good quality business and that it's staying on the books and that well, you're not dealing with a whole lot of the negative sides of the business with chargebacks and that.
Yeah. I've also never heard her complain. Like, I have not heard you complain once about anything. We've all had our
True.
challenges that we face in life and in work, and the ebbs and flows and the rising and the falling of all the things. But never once have I heard a complaint. Like, man, I don't want that. No, yuck, blah. Adam,
I
that's
said,
such a valuable thing to have in a person, in an agency, in an industry wrought with such negativity, to
Oh
have a
yeah.
good quality person to add into the mix.
I just
Yeah, I mean
noticed that like I can't do what I do and like have my schedule that I need anyplace else. So there's been many times I've been like, all right, I'm done with insurance, like I'm going to go find something else to do. But,
Mhm.
that's just me venting to myself because there isn't anything else that you can do and make the money that you can and have the schedule that you do anyplace else. I mean, it just, I've had to last minute take time off for, grandkids or kids or whatever. And, any place else, you can't do that. You just can't. And knowing that you can go and say, okay, well, I'll just double up everything for the rest of the week and make up for the day that I missed.
Mhm.
It's amazing. So I do. I mean, complaining, you can complain about it, but it doesn't really change anything. So you just have to adapt and figure it out and go forward with it.
You got it. Any closing thoughts, Adam, as we look to wrap up at 10 a.m. as we're doing exclusive training for our agency at 10:15 for just them and nobody else?
Yeah, not, basically, like what we were just saying, appreciate you, Erin, and your business. And I mean, I know, you're an easy agent to work with. You reach out to us when you need us, but you're just kind of doing your thing. And I, the fact that you write good business, I don't feel like I have to sit around like with a magnifying glass looking at your business. And, I appreciate that too.
Thank you.
But like what Chris said too, I mean, you do your thing, you're positive. I mean, we all know, I mean, negativity just sometimes brings everybody down. You have one bad apple and the whole group gets worse. And, you're kind of the opposite, with what you're talking about today, you're helping everybody get better, not only our own agents, but a heck of a lot of other agents that are in the industry that need that help when it comes to getting referrals and just maybe that have never tried to get referrals. And kind of like what I was saying too, just in the end, it's, I think what we learn is that there's really no magic potion to getting referrals. The key is just being consistent with it and asking, and then doing what you can to get in touch with those referrals. It doesn't do you much good if you get the referrals and then you just let them sit on your notepad. I mean, you got to do something with them. So
some of them do die during that time you're waiting to call them. So,
yeah.
If you wouldn't mind, since this is out and open for the world to watch and listen, what has working with us done for your business over the course of the last 6 to 9 months you've spent with us full time?
The training and the one-on-one has been amazing. The lead opportunity has been great, and just getting kind of past some of my, hesitations by talking and listening to others and different things has been amazing. It's something that's definitely new. As a seasoned agent, sometimes you get, kind of passed by on things because everyone thinks you know what you're doing, which you don't. There's always something somebody else knows that you don't, and you can pick up from that and grow from it. So I appreciate all of that help.
Absolutely. We appreciate you and what you've done and what will soon be and everything that we'll continue to do together. Appreciate you guys watching, commenting, subscribing, sharing the content out. Again, some of the most in-depth, useful, and practical information you can share, you just heard, and make sure you share it out with others.